This first video is to help you fill out the definitions in your Powerful Poetry Packet number 1. So make sure you have your packet ready to go. The video has been split into 2 parts to make it fit onto Schoology. So to fill out the entire packet, you would watch both videos. Now when filling out the packet, we are only doing definitions right now. So the first thing I will fill out is the what is poetry. That will be at the start of the presentation. And then as we move into the actual terms, you will only do the definition. You won't do the parts underneath it that are the practice exercises and examples. So once I fill out the definition for alliteration, I would go to the next term, which is allusion. And I would fill out only the definition. I'd skip all this underneath and continue to the next term. So here we're going to go to the beginning of the presentation. This is the PowerPoint. And we're going to start with what is poetry. Now, poetry is a certain type of literature where the words are chosen and arranged to create a certain effect. It uses sound devices, imagery, and figurative language to express emotion and ideas. Nonfiction texts are about sharing facts and opinions. Narrative texts, like novels, are for telling stories. Poetry is for expressing emotions and ideas. And the poet does that by picking just the right words with just the right sounds and mixing them together in just the right way. So it is written in something called verse instead of a paragraph. A paragraph is what you would find in a traditional novel or a nonfiction book. Verse is a little different because it's controlled by the poet. They get to decide when to indent and how to indent. They get to decide how many words go on each line and if the lines look a little different. Poetry is a bit more creative. Now our first term is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words. A consonant simply means not a vowel. So words that do not start with A, E, I, O, or U. And the repetition of the sound needs to be at the beginning of the word. For example, the whopping big whale wallowed in the water. Because we have lots of words here that start with that same W sound, we have alliteration. Now, it's about the sound and not the letter. So cat and kite are also alliteration, even though one starts with a C and one starts with a K. They still have the same K sound. So if I said the cat flew a kite, I would still have alliteration. Allusion. Allusion is an indirect reference to a famous person, place, event, or thing, often to describe something else. For example, look at that romantic couple over there. They are so Romeo and Juliet. Well, Romeo and Juliet were a famous couple, a crazy couple from a play by Shakespeare, considered one of the most romantic couples in literature. So if I happen to call a couple Romeo and Juliet, I am implying that they are very romantic. Or if I say, wow, my best friend is such a LeBron James, I'm implying that he's really good at basketball by referencing a famous basketball player. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is when the truth is exaggerated for emphasis or humorous effect. We blow things out of proportion in hyperbole. We exaggerate them. I was late to class because the lunch line was 1,000,000 miles long. We know that the line wasn't actually 1,000,000 miles, but we're trying to emphasize just how long that lunch line was. Imagery. Imagery is descriptive words or phrases that recreate a sensory experience. You can almost think of it as painting with words. We appeal to one or more of the 5 senses in imagery. So we try to use descriptions that are so detailed that our reader can see, hear, touch, taste, or smell whatever we're describing. So not using imagery would be saying, well, I was at the ocean. I put my feet in the water. It's not very detailed or descriptive. Now let's see what happens when you add the imagery. The cool cerulean water lapping at my toes tickled like little fingers reaching out from the sea, salty tentacles snaring my feet and whispering at me to jump in. See, now we have a description where we can see the blue water. We can feel it gently reaching our toes and pulling back on us as it pulls away again. So we have painted our picture with words. We've painted an image with words. Metaphor. Metaphor is a comparison, a direct comparison between two things that have something in common. So I'm going to describe one thing by comparing it to something else, but I'm not going to use the words like or as. So I'm going to compare Eli to a bear because they're both grumpy. So in a metaphor, I would say Eli is such a grumpy bear in the morning that no one wants to wake him up. I didn't say he was like a bear. I didn't say he was as grumpy as a bear. I said that Eli is a grumpy bear. So I've compared them. I did not use like or as. Therefore, we have a metaphor. Automatopoeia. They're fun to say and to use because an automatopoeia is the use of words whose pronunciations suggest their meaning. They're sound words. When you take a sound and spell it out, you get automatopoeia. Buzz, pow, moo, blam, splat. All sounds that we've simply spelled out. Personification. In this one, it has the word person in it, which helps me remember the meaning. Because personification is when we give human qualities to an object, animal, or idea to help describe it. We personify something by giving it something human so we can describe what it seems to be doing, like the forest was scary at night as the branches reached out and snatched at my clothes. Now, I know branches don't actually reach out and try to grab me, but it's a great way to describe the feeling I get when they brush against my clothes on a dark night. So I've given them that human ability to reach out and grab at me so that I can describe them. At this point, we're going to stop part 1, and to continue, you can watch part 2 to fill in the rest of your packet.